Hello, my name is Jackson. I'm a data analyst, and this is going to be a tutorial on what I'm calling Inner Concatenate using Pandas and some Python functionality. So we have two data sets using some patient data for doctors, where we have the patient ID, the date they saw the doctor, and the doctor that they saw, as well as some extra information like age when they saw the doctor and their job. So both these data sets are the same columns. They have similar data, and we want to combine them into be one data set, but we only want to look at the patients that were in both sources. So this could be something like two different entities or buildings for some reason supply their own data source, and in this case we just want to look at the patients that came in through both data sources. So how we're going to do that is using some pandas in Python. So we're going to import pandas. We're going to import our data sets, take a look, just make sure everything looks right. And since these data sets are so small, we can actually see what patients exactly that we're going to be pulling in. So 1 is only in the first data set, so we won't be pulling that in. And 9 and 10 are only in the second data set, so we won't be pulling that in. So the patients we will be grabbing will be 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8. And how we're going to do that is using sets, lists, sets, and intersection. So if you don't know what intersection is, basically you look at a Venn diagram, and it's the intersect of the two sides that are combined together. So the IDs that appear in both dataset 1 and dataset 2. So since we want a list, we're going to outsource this to a list, and we're going to make this a set to use the intersection functionality. Intersection basically, or set just takes a list, and you can only have one value of each inside of it. So 3 will only appear once instead of twice, and 8 will only appear once instead of 3 times, and 5 will only appear once instead of twice. So we take this df id to list, put it inside a set, and if you wanted, you could also do id. If you had spaces in your column names, like if this was called patient ID, then you would have to do it that way. However, we're going to be using dot ID. So we take our first set and we apply an intersection with our second set, which should be a set. We close that to be a list. So, and we have 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. It's what we were expecting. And now we want to get that into a data frame. So we can use isIn with pandas to check if an element is in a list, and that returns some Boolean values. In this case, we just want the true ones. So we can do df brackets and then put that Boolean value inside, and that will return the data frame of when it's true. If you wanted it when it's false, you could do something like is false, or you could do something not true like this, but in our case just want the true ones. And now we can create both those. So the same code for both df1, df2, they create these common df1s and 2s. We'll just take a look. Looks like exactly what we should expect. And now we want to concatenate those into one data frame. And there it is. We have a data frame of just the IDs that appear in both sources. Now, if you want to cut down on some of the lines you had, you could just put this straight into the Pandas concatenate function, which takes a list of data frames, and you'll get the same result. If you really wanted to make this a one line code, you could take this list that we made called unique common IDs and put it in here, but that's just a little too much for me. It's a little hard to read, and it's a little hard to track. There's a lot of parentheses, a lot of brackets. I like to keep my code a little more readable. And then if you're reusing this, I would put it into a function like something like this, where it takes two data frames, creates the unique common IDs list, and then returns the data frame that we want to create. So I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. And if you have any comments about the process or think you have a better solution to this problem, please let me know in the comments.